There we go. What's going on, everybody? All right, all right. Get my screen pulled up here. All right. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Michael, what's going on? Sorry for the blurriness at the beginning. I think me putting my hand in front of the camera refocused me. So, Darla, hello. Keith, what's going on? Hugh, how's it going? Good to see you. Keith, what's up, brother? You can tell winter is heavy right now as my winter coat on my face continues to grow. It's been quite cold lately in Iowa, so I have to keep on growing it. But we're heading to Florida to escape the cold February 18th, which will be nice. Well, I'll be working most of the time, but going to Florida with the family and my in-laws. So escaping the cold will be fantastic. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, everybody. Um, I I was surprised that I went into my Coinbase account today. I haven't looked at my Coinbase in like 6 months. Went into my Coinbase and it was nice to see that Bitcoin has been on a little surge lately. Has anybody been buying? Ed, what's up, bro? Has anybody been buying anything recently? I almost bought Tesla right before earnings. I mean, I feel like all of us probably have these stories once a week. I almost bought Tesla before earnings. I was going to do some Leap options. It got really low. I own a Tesla, so I do like to buy the stock when I can. Um, which I did. It's up like 60% in the last 3 weeks. But so it goes. So it goes. Gonna give it a couple minutes. I'm having a little happy at Thirsty Thursday happy hour. It's been a long week, long 12, 14-hour days. We have some momentum going, so we got to keep on pushing hard. We can go through quite a bit tonight. Um, really appreciate all the activity in Slack. Yeah, some very, very meaningful conversations. I know as we grow it and as more OGs hear about Slack, I think we're sitting at 57 people in there right now. I'd like to get that to almost 100. So we'll talk about that a little bit more tonight. But again, we're kind of consolidating all our communication channels to email updates once a week in the form of a newsletter / email update, and then in Slack, and then our AMAs. So that's what's going on there. Okay, let's get started. I know some people are traveling today, so hello to everybody that's watching this later. But we have lots to run through in a short amount of time. If you hear the kids, I'm sorry. They're being quite loud. They didn't go to wrestling tonight, so they have quite some energy. So if you hear them, sorry, you shouldn't. But if you do, I apologize in advance. I kept the same starter slide from our last AMA because I think it looks awesome. But this is again our new website, like the hero page, but I kind of like how it looks on the slide too. So, anyways, let's jump in. Our agenda tonight: talk to the advisory board. We're going to have elections at the end of this month. Our marketing plan, subcommittees. I think this is spun off of something that Darla had a comment Darla made in the Slack channel, which got me thinking like we should have subcommittee chairs that are over certain aspects of the company based on what something that Darla had said. And so I was like, you know what? I think we should probably have some subcommittees as well and start building up that hierarchy for our membership. We're going to talk about Refunder along with share drops to our new members. So anybody, and now this is going to go deep into our memories. But anybody that we promised shares to, that you guys told your friends about that are going to get shares, it's finally happening. So we'll talk about that when we get to the Refunder side of things. I want to briefly discuss, I know everyone's not on here that asked some of these questions, so maybe we can start it up again in Slack. But I want to talk about member pricing a little bit. I think there's some interesting things and nuance that we should talk about because A, we are building a company, but two, we do want to make it exclusive to member owners. And that kind of leads into this hybrid for-profit credit union framework. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more in detail, but it should make sense to all of us considering what we've been building and planning for quite some time now. So that's the agenda for today. I don't know if Michael is Nagy's here, but he wanted to talk about kind of like valuation stuff. We can talk about that a little bit too when we get into Refunder member pricing. Michael Nagy, if you're watching later, this is for you. Okay, so advisory board, we're going to have elections the last week in February. Again, so this is kind of recap from a couple weeks ago. We're going to meet twice a month. Those are going to be 2-year terms. The initial advisory board is going to be compensated in shares. And so we'd, of course, like to pay, but all that money is going to marketing and engineering. And so the first round is going to be in shares. 15,000 shares vested over a 2-year period. The typical time frame is usually 4 years with what's called a 1-year cliff and then month-to-month vesting after that. But we're going to shorten that to 2 years. Something that I do that will be implemented here as well is Kyle. What's going on, my brother? We just started, so you haven't missed anything. Something that we're going to implement as well. I talked to Mike. He's our lead investor for this Refunder round. He's invested in the past as well. He's an OG. But something that him and I were talking about, and I think this is really important for our mission, is the chairman and the chairwoman, and co-chair of the members advisory board is going to also serve on the board of governance, the corporate board of governance as well. And that, to me, is important to not only make sure that everyone's voice is heard, so not just our voices, but all the members that join later on. Not only are they heard from an advisory board level, a member board, if you will, but also the member board, the chair and the co-chair of the members board will be represented on the corporate board of governance as well. I think that's really, really important because it's truly embedding that we have the will of the people in mind as we lead the company. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. I will start posting tomorrow morning in the advisory board channel. There will be a form for anybody that wants to be on the board, that wants to be considered for the board. We'll need to fill out a form. It's not long, 7-8 questions. And then in that form, there will be kind of some guidelines, the expectations, the KPIs, and what's expected of a board member, and then kind of like a guideline on how to go and get votes to be on the board. So I'm thinking we'll have 9 people on the board this year for the next 2 years. What we may do is we may have 7 or 5 in the first initial rollout of the board, and then next year add another 4. So then we can have a little bit of the board turning over every year. And so it's a 2-year term, but similar to how like city councils and stuff work, you don't have all city council all get elected at the same time and then they turn out. It would be a circular event type thing. So that's what I'm thinking. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. But that's the advisory board. Look out for the form tomorrow in our Slack channel, in the advisory board channel. Subcommittee. So there I think, let me double check on Slack real quick. I think I did. Yeah, I started a subcommittee channel in Slack. There will be 5 subcommittees in there as well. They won't. The subcommittee members will report to the board, or the board will be over the subcommittee. Still trying to figure out that nuance, but the 5 subcommittees will be laid out in detail in the Slack channel tomorrow. The idea is we have a member, whether it's a board member that's over a subcommittee, or another person that's over the subcommittee that's a member, that is directly tied to the department head on the corporate side as well. And so, for example, if we have a chief marketing officer and we have a marketing department, we want to have a subcommittee chair that oversees the marketing department from the members to make sure there's proper communication and liaisoning from the membership, and then with the corporate officer or VP or whatever as we grow. Oh, awesome, Eric. Yeah, I think so too. What made me think about that from a city council perspective was, like, 3 months ago, I was approached to run for mayor of the small city I live in, Windsor Heights. I said no because I'm too busy. But it made me think about the mechanics of how city councils work, and that's how I was thinking we structure kind of like a rolling board essentially. Okay, so keep a lookout for subcommittees tomorrow. They will have their own expectations, not necessarily as intensive as the board, unless there's not enough interest, and then we'll just assign a board member to be the committee chair of that subcommittee as well. Okay, let's jump into Refunder real quick. Did you answer my question? Michael, I don't think so. What was your question? Ask your question, and I will be happy to answer it. Okay, Refunder is almost live. Well, it's live, but for friends and family. And so tomorrow or Monday, it should be live to the public. I was talking to the head of launch at Refunder a couple hours ago, and they're going to promote us as well. So we should see a nice bump from Refunder's efforts. Again, we're raising 500K. I said this in the Refunder update today. If you guys are on the Refunder, if you had invested on Refunder in the past, you should have got that update. But we're raising 500K. The 500K will get us very well built. Same way you guys sent, you didn't have any assets on it. Michael, I will address that in one moment. All right, let me just address this now. So Michael says the statement you guys sent me didn't have any assets on it. Trying to figure out where my 100 shares are. I didn't send any statement. So are you referring to the statement from Alpaca? Like your stocks, like your publicly traded stock statement, or what? Yeah, because Carson or I didn't send any statements, so I'm not sure. Not sure what that means. Okay, so Refunder is live, raising 500K. The 500K will get us the high yield savings account, enough marketing dollars to get 25,000 members using the high yield savings account, a nice, beautiful app, and then engineering to support it for the next 18 months. So we're going to talk about pricing a little bit, but this is where the share drop side of things come in. So if you all remember, 6 or 9 months ago, we're trying to figure out a mechanism for getting people shares legally, right? And so if you recall, a year and a half ago, really when we really started pushing stonks, the mission was to give 5 shares away to everybody that joins the company. Fast forward, after talking to several lawyers, can't do that legally. And so you have to go through a regulation crowdfunding platform in order to do that. Refunder is a regulation crowdfunding platform, Republic, Seed Invest, etc. It has to go through a portal like that. Up until this point, Republic was, Michael, I'll address that in 1 second. Republic was the only portal that did a share drop. The share drop is a mechanism in which we are able to give shares away of the company. I talked to Refunder yesterday, and earlier today, about specifically yesterday. I talked to him about share drops. We talked about something else today. So yesterday, when I talked to him about share drops, they also can facilitate a share drop. So here's how that's going to look. So if you have any friends that have been like, hey, whatever happened to that company that I was going to get 5 shares for signing up, this is what you can tell them. April 30th, we're going to close down the 500K raise on Refunder. There's reasons for that, but SEC regs says that we have to close it down April 30th, and then we have to get our financials reviewed again for 2022 fiscal year. But I think we'll have enough money by April 30th. We can just shut it down and move on. Starting the following month, so May 1st, assuming we had an audit and financials reviewed and whatnot, we're going to have that done in March. April 1st, we can do the share drop. And so we're going to give away $5 million worth of shares to all of the people on the pass wait list, and then everybody that comes in to be members of our neobank. So People Finance Bank and trading platforms, we're going to be able to do that. And Refunder is going to support that. So here's how this is going to look. We're going to do the raise, shut it down in end of April, and then the following month, we're going to start giving away the shares, and it will all be done through Refunder as well. So basically how that looks is somebody signs up for the app, they download it, they go through KYC. They don't have to fund their savings account, but obviously we want them to fund their savings account. And then they'll be issued shares right from Refunder. And so it'll be registered with the SEC, and people can track it in their Refunder account. And so pretty exciting stuff. We're actually able to do it, and Refunder makes it really easy for us to do. But again, it's sticking with our mission of being people-owned, member-owned, member-governed. It's like Web 2.5. And so we're not a DAO over here, which we've talked about this a lot, but kind of is BS. The concept is good and great, but a DAO can be coded to rug pull people also, as we've seen. And we're not necessarily a credit union at the moment. Someday we want to become one, but we're governing things like a credit union would, but we're a for-profit credit union, which leads me into kind of this idea of a hybrid for-profit credit union framework. So a credit union, as we know, is member driven, right? One member, one vote, and it's democratized, and it's a nonprofit. We can't do that right now because we don't have a credit union charter. And so how I'm thinking about this when we talk about it with people is we're a hybrid for-profit credit union in the sense of member owned. You have to be a member of People Finance in order to partake in the benefits of People Finance. So high yield savings, 0% APR credit cards, cash back on checking accounts, like those products that we build out in the future, low interest rates on student loans, those products that we roll out in the future, you have to be a member. Except members also own shares because we give it to them. And so it's kind of a hybrid. It's like Web 2.5, not a DAO, not a credit union, kind of right in the middle. And it's kind of I was talking about it to a couple people in my network this week, and it seems to be resonating quite well. Now, something I do here, I'll jump on that in a second. Something I do want to talk about is member pricing. And so in theory, we want to be able to offer the best products to everybody. Kyle, I'll jump on that in a sec as well. So in theory, we want to be able to offer the best products at the best rates to our members. This is the philosophy of a credit union. Being a member of a credit union, because it's a non-for-profit, in theory, they're supposed to offer you better financial products. Does that happen? Make the argument that they don't, but that's the theory. Credit unions also have membership dues. Whether there's some that are $7 a month, there's some that are $50 a year, like they vary. So this comes to the important question of what do we charge our members to be a part of the People Finance or the People Finance member union, essentially? I've talked to probably about 50 people about this. I have mixed reviews from people. Some are like, I'm fine with paying $5 a month. Some people are like, I would rather be charged $40 for the year, not have to see a charge every month coming out of my bank account. I want to put that back to everybody. Like, we need to charge something for our members because that's how we're able to offer products and services. For example, if we want to charge 0% APR on a credit card, well, we need to make we that needs to be a benefit of membership, right? And so only members, shareholders can access those products, those financial products. So I want to throw it back to you guys in the chat. What should we charge members? And this will scale over time, right? Like right now, we're going to have one product. It's going to be a savings account. It's going to be one of the highest APY savings account in the country. But what is that? Yeah, what do we want to look? Also, second question. So, first question, what do we want to charge? Second question is, do we charge it just upfront for the year, like $50 for the year, or $6 or $7, like Kyle says, $6 or $7 a month, like a credit union? And it's not um, when answering this question as well. Don't think about it as what I can afford because think as a shareholder first, as a business owner for a second. Like it's not necessarily what I can afford. What can everybody afford without even thinking about it? And then we'll make our decision as business owners. We'll make our decision based on that, like $5 a month or $50 upfront for the year. Ed, did you really just electrocute yourself? All right, throw in the chat what you think is the best pricing model, and then I'll go back and answer some of these questions. Okay, when this all started, I bought 100 shares of stonks stocks. It's been more than a year, I think. Yeah, but this would not, Michael. This would not be on the tax statement that you get from the trading account. I never sent you a statement, and I don't think Carson did either. So the only statement that anybody would have gotten is from Alpaca, which is our broker dealer partner. We're not a publicly traded company, so that would not come from Alpaca because Alpaca is a broker. So you can like those are stocks like Apple and Tesla. So that's not going to be on there. So you have your 100 shares, but you would not have gotten the state. You would not have gotten a statement saying that because we're not a publicly traded company. If that makes sense. Do you update Refunder and AngelList on current pricing to bring it up to date? Hugh, what do you mean by this? Current pricing, our current valuation on Refunder is the current valuation. So $2.50 a share is what everyone's share is worth right now. Once we close this round out, we'll bump up the valuation for when we give shares away. Probably to 40 million or so. Are we going to get all our shares from past investments? What do you mean by this, Kyle? You have all your shares. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but it's worth reemphasizing again. If you ever sign documents, whether it's from me directly, AngelList, or Refunder, and you ever purchase shares, they're your shares. Your shares are recorded with the SEC. They're your shares. I have to record this stuff with the Securities and Exchange Commission. So if you ever had shares given to you or purchased on Refunder, on AngelList, or through a safe, through a document that I sent you, they are your shares. So I think that's what you mean, Kyle. But yes, anything that has been given to you in the past, they're yours. If it was on the free thing, when we promised 5 shares before, that will be given to you in the share drop. To make that clear, so the free shares will be allocated to everybody that signed up in the share drop. All purchase shares, they're yours already. Okay, let's see. $5 monthly. Okay, I'd rather pay yearly. I think we can make, yeah, I think we can make two. Michael, I'll ping you after this. I don't have a statement because it wasn't another transaction. So I can get you the documents. I can dig those up, but there's no financial statement for those. Once you sign the document, and depending on what platform you did it on, like if it was with me directly, then I have it. But if you did it on Refunder or AngelList, it's going to be on those platforms under your profile. They charge for checking and checks are free. Okay. Oh, they charge for checking. That's crazy. Current on AngelList still shows $1. Yeah. So that okay. So Hugh, that what you're seeing on AngelList is specific to that round. And so I can't update that on AngelList because that round has already closed. So when it was posted, the shares were purchased at $1. Our current valuation is $2.50 per share, and that's updated on Refunder. If that makes sense. Oops. Someone said, let's see. Will we get credit? So will we get credit for some extra shares for our master program? Yes. That will be done through the share drop as well, Keith. I believe yearly is a much better idea than monthly. $50 a year is a nice round number to start. Yeah, okay. So I think we can do two things. So we have to think of it from two different ways. One, well, really cash flow, right? Operating cash. So obviously, if 25,000 people pay us $50 up front, that gives us more operating capital in order to grow the company rather than $5 a month. What I think we can do is I think we can do two options, like two payment options. Like, would people rather pay $5 a month? You can click this, or would you rather have 2 months free and pay $50 for the year? I think we can have two options. Um, one's better for the company specifically because there's a dramatically less churn from month to month versus yearly. But again, I think all these first 25,000 people are going to be owners of the company, and so it's going to be looked at differently. Like as we grow the revenue, the share value grows as well, and we're going to try to evaluate. We're going to try to visualize somebody's shares value in the banking app later down the line because I think that would be a cool feature too, for sure. Kyle, of course, brother. The checking account fee covers. Yeah, so yeah, so that's the thing. It's credit unions getting a fee somehow. It's just whether are you paying for it or are they hiding it somewhere else. I'd rather be transparent about it. Yeah, I agree with you, Hugh. I also prefer yearly because then I don't have to think about it anymore. But some people would rather do monthly, so I think we can have both tiers for sure. Okay, thank you for the feedback, everybody. I appreciate that. Let's jump forward a little bit. Again, I want to review our goals for this year. Our number one initiative before we launch any other products, before we launch a credit card product, debit card, checking accounts, loans, lending, anything. 25,000 accounts signed up for the high yield savings. That should get us between 3.5 and 5 million a year in revenue. We want to grow our newsletter, which we started growing this week, and we want to grow our YouTube channel. So to put it into perspective, and I think Nagy asked me about this, and he's not here. So Nagy, if you're watching later, this is for you. To put this into perspective, we are a financial technology company. Financial technology companies it's gone down a little bit with the recent pullback, but financial technology companies at our stage usually fetch about a 25-30x multiple. So what that means is if we're making, let's say, $1 million a year in revenue, it's EBITDA, but we'll just use gross revenue, $1 million. We'll discount EBITDA for a second. It's a little bit more complicated, but just for simple math, we'll say $1 million in gross revenue. For a fintech company of our size, we can pretty much easily fetch a 25x multiple. So what that means is we're doing $1 million a year. So this would be our Series A round, essentially. We're doing $1 million a year in revenue, 30x multiple. That's a $30 million valuation. Now, for the stage that we're currently at, it's like a 60x multiple. But there's speculative reasons behind that, but that's kind of what it is. So say we go raise a Series A, we're doing $1 million a year in revenue. We go fetch a 30x multiple. That's a $30 million valuation. So if we're doing $5 million a year in revenue, so that'd be us getting 25,000 accounts, $5 million a year in revenue, and a 30x multiple. It's a $150 million valuation. So everyone's shares would be then valued at $15 a pop. To put it in perspective, Current is a high yield competitor, high yield savings account competitor, been around for 5 years. It just hit 5 million people, 5 million, and I think they're doing 4% on their high yield savings. And so the market is big for us. So 25,000 is very attainable, and that should get us about $150 million valuation, so about $15 a share. That's why we're so laser focused on this right now, because with that type of market cap, we can go public. I mean, we can go public with a $20 million market cap. I talked to NASDAQ about it about 6 months ago, and like you can go public with 20 million if you can pay the IPO price. And so, so the multiples are very heavy in our favor, which is why we want our members to not only have the best banking products available, but then participate, when we do become a $1 billion company, when we become a $20 billion company, because those free shares now are worth $50,000, $40,000. And so, so that's kind of how the multiple works and the valuation of each share. But if you have any questions on that, let me know. But that's why we're laser focused on those goals. Let's see. Eric, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Yeah, you missed a little bit. Yep, Eric, we're about 30 minutes in. But savings account are not active yet, though. Can profit be used to build out all of the platform? Yeah. So Hugh, how a membership's fee should work is that money is reinvested back to build out more products and services. So yeah, the profits, all revenue, we're not gonna be profitable because we're gonna reinvest all that money back into the platform to expand our services. This will also allow us. Okay, so mind you, let's just go with $5 a month. Okay, that's 125,000 a month in revenue. Okay, that builds about a 10-person engineering team and a really healthy marketing budget. So that we can pretty much at those numbers double our number base every 2 months. And so yeah, all that money is going to be reinvested back into growing usership and growing products and technology so that we can get to 1 million users. So there's gonna be no profit taking until obviously we hit our unicorn goal of $1 billion in revenue or in valuation. And so so all the revenue is invested back into better products, better technology, better services. With the high yield savings account, do we have to commit to keeping it in the account for a certain amount of time? The business owner part of me says, I want you to keep it in there for 5 years because we can use it and make yield off of it. But from a practical standpoint, I don't think we're going to get away with locking people's money up. So I'm going to say no for now, with a caveat. The caveat is maybe we produce 4% for people that don't lock it up and 6% for people that wouldn't mind locking it up for 18 months. And so treating it like a CD and a savings account, right? And so I'm undecided on that, but I do kind of like the 2 tiers where it's like, I don't want to lock my money up. I'll take the lower yield for the ability to have instant liquidity. If you don't mind locking it up, like a traditional CD would be locked up, for 2 years, then you get a higher interest rate. So I'm agnostic on either of those at the moment. I just know practically if we say everyone has to lock their money up, user adoption will be quite a bit less. No minimum deposit. I mean, maybe like $5. Like, we can't just have. I think it costs like $1 to open up an account. Like that's our cost to open up an account. So yeah, so maybe $5. Like, but no minimum deposit. I'd rather people put $100 in there a month forever than requiring people to do $500 and they never put any more money in. So we want to create good behaviors for our membership because obviously as our AUM grows from our membership base, like the idea is like we're creating a co-op pretty much. And so the idea is creating a kick-ass like banking solution where I do my direct deposits here, I pay my mortgage from this, I save for retirement. Like that's the idea. That's a long-term vision of like this is going to be my bank. Like People Finance is going to be where I bank as Anthony Hughes. Like this is where I go. We're just not there yet, but the long-term vision is because our membership is so tight and so predictable and so reliable and contributive, like we just all benefit from each other by banking together. And so like that's the idea over time, but no minimum deposit as of now. Yeah, yeah, I think Darla, this is a great idea. So Darla asked, can you put say $1,000 at a higher yield and the rest at a lower yield? Yeah, I think you could have two savings accounts for sure. Um, and then you could lock up one and then have one that's liquid. I think something that's interesting, and I know we touched on this, it's not going to be ready immediately, but what if somebody locked up their money for say 3 years? Let's say they put $1,000 in, they locked their money up for 3 years and it was producing 6%. But then we gave them $1,000 credit card at 0% APR. So you still have access to money, it's growing, but essentially that savings account secures the credit card, right? And so you have liquidity. You are able to, it's a revolving line of credit as well. So when you pay it off, you have more money. It's at 0%, so not punishing our users and members for um, saving their money. Yeah, so I think there's different ways to do it. I like the credit card attached to the savings account idea because that money's growing. There's no interest on the savings account, and we make 1.5% on transactions on interchange fees as a company. And so that's kind of like the best of all worlds. And so we don't need to charge a ridiculous 15% on the credit card when the company, the members, can make money just off interchange fees. So yeah, so I think there's a few different ways that we can play with it, but I do like this idea. Michael, this is a great question. I don't know. I think I don't like paying monthly subscriptions personally, but I also know that like I don't want to pay too much for stuff as well, right? So I think $50 a year is a fair membership price, especially if we're offering a high yield savings, if we're offering 0% APR lines, so like no interest on a credit card, if we're offering the lowest loan products in the country. This is all to come, right? This is after we hit our 25,000 person goal. But yeah, I think $50 a year is fair, especially when everyone owns shares of the company. So it essentially goes back to shareholders anyways, in the form of valuation. But then it's also paid for through no fees on stuff, on loan products and whatnot as well. Um, yeah, Darla, I do too. Does anybody else like that credit card idea? Um, because that is something that we can roll out fairly because it's already built in with Solid. So um, for the liquidity, like you put $1,000, you lock up $1,000 for 3 years, but you have $1,000 line of credit on a credit card. Like the who likes that idea? I like that idea. I think that's a great idea. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. Cool. Okay. Sweet. All right. Yeah, and so I also like um think our competitive advantage with having 0% interest on a credit card will be absolutely monumental. So, and then we make 1.5% on every swipe that someone does. And so not only are we helping our members not rack up insane amount of credit card debt because of 20% interest rates, but it's also directly benefited everybody through the interchange fees, which I think is pretty powerful. All right, one last slide, everybody, and then we'll get going. This is just a recap of Slack. If please feel free to invite people to Slack. Like I want to buzzing a little bit more. Again, if you have not downloaded Slack onto your phone, like that'd be awesome. We are consolidating, as I said. So I probably will be getting rid of Community, the texting app at the end of the month. It's really expensive now. And so we can use that money elsewhere. And then most likely shutting down Discord because there's nothing really happening in there. And there's just too many communication channels. We really do want to centralize around Slack. And so if you're not in Slack, please do so. If you don't have the app, please download it because there is very valuable, meaningful conversation happening in there. And I'd love more people to be involved. So feel free to invite other people if you can. I'm going to post it on Facebook as well. I don't really need to run through this because everyone is not abusing Slack, but just as a reminder, if you @channel everybody, it does ping everybody. We don't want to do that because as hundreds of people come in, and if hundreds of people start @channeling people, then no one's going to use it because it's too noisy. And so everyone's doing a great job. So I don't really need to run through these. I just wanted to really emphasize getting into Slack. Okay, so that's what I got tonight. Let me get some money. Okay, I like it. Any ideas on how to get my mom to download Slack on her flip? This is great. I haven't heard of a hack to get Slack on a flip phone, but Michael, let me do some research on that. That's great. Need documents for upcoming meeting. Hugh, yes, I will send you documents. Let me do it tomorrow morning. I'm pretty fried at the moment. Let me do it tomorrow morning. When is your meeting, by the way? Or just shoot me a slide. Tell me a little bit more about the meeting that's coming up and how I can support. All right, everybody. That's all I got for tonight. I don't know if I said this on the last one, but this is my new studio. I'm in my son down the hall into a different room. And because I want to turn this into a recording studio so that we can get more content out there. As you can see from the last AMA, nothing's happened. So so it's coming, but yeah, Michael, anytime. Call me anytime. If you want to shoot me a text tomorrow, we can set something up. Swag, I have a call with the they're not manufacturers, but with the t-shirt company tomorrow, and I'll give you an update on that. Thank you, Kyle, for the reminder. I meant to put that in the agenda, but I have a call with them tomorrow. It's coming though, I promise, because I'm trying to learn this stuff. So I only want people and Stonks OG gear. I actually have a sketch of a Stonks OG shirt that I want to send all the OGs as well. Okay, everybody, I got to run. I got to take some melatonin and hit the sack because I'm tired. But if you need anything, shoot me a DM in Slack or text me. Yeah, Michael, text me tomorrow. Hugh, Slack me in or DM me in Slack. And anyways, let me know if you need anything. I'm on Slack all day, pretty much all night. So let me know if you need anything. Until next time, everybody, have a great night. Appreciate all the time and all the effort and all the support and all the input. Gonna do this without you. Have a great night, everyone.